Hello everybody, and we are going to just make sure we have everybody going here. No, let's not. Okay. Hello my gorgeous ones. Oh, hello everybody. I hope we are all doing very, very well tonight. It's lovely to be back. I no longer have a bloody snowstorm screwing up my connection. Hi, Susan, sweetheart. Hi, Hazel, sweetie. Hello. Hi, Tanil. Hi, sweetheart. Omer. Michael. Hi, sweetie. Gina. Hello. Yusuf. Hello. Salam. Ah, wonderful. Jessica, everybody come on board. We're going to just wait just like a hot second so we make sure that we have everybody here. Now, this live tonight is, of course, all about your fears and your frustrations. And this was posted to me, the questions that I'm going through on this one. Oh, Jay, you're doing well. Wonderful. How am I? I'm doing good, you know. I'm doing great and going with the flow of energy. Doing things that I'm going through development and training within myself right now. So, whew, lots of stuff. Hi, Virgin Sweetheart. Alberto, hello, everybody. Hello. Hi, Haley, sweetheart. Hi. Howard, hello. Oh, wonderful. Balamura. Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. I cannot pronounce your name, but great day ahead. Love, peace, and harmony. Yes, to you as well, my friend, and to everybody. Hi, Christine. Steve, hello. Okay, so these questions that we have at the moment, because I posted literally, Jay, I'm loving retired military life. Wonderful. I just love that you're loving life, sweetheart. That's what we want. Okay. So these fears were given to us on my previous post where I posted literally, tell me your fears and frustrations and I'll tell you how to overcome them. So I am going to be going through these comments first. Please, if you have any comments that are related to these or anything like that, I'm going to try my best to go through the comments on the live as well. But once I'm done all these ones, then I will totally open it up to anybody on the live as well if you feel more comfortable and you want to join in with me at that point. Okay, so we're going to start. Michael, hello, it's Michael. I'm here. I'm trying to feel grounded. I haven't felt grounded all day. I haven't even left my couch, but we'll see how this goes. Oh, goodness sakes. Yes, by the way, everybody, another large frequency increase is going through. So if you start feeling super tired, please sleep. So Michael, the fact that you're just like, I haven't gotten up off my couch today, if that's what your heart was telling you to do, it's for a damn good reason. No doubt your body needs the rest. So there we go. Jay, besides my wife, I rarely find interesting conversations. Well, Jay, you are in the right place. So we should let's get cracking then. Okay, so the first fear comes from Emma Very. Emma says, I fear being sectioned over sharing my views on spirituality with my doctor I see every 6 weeks, as most doctors don't believe and put spirituality down to my mental health illness. Have a deep passion to say what I'm searching for. People are being wrongfully labeled and sectioned over their spiritual and religious beliefs. Emma, I think that is a absolutely fantastic, well, I don't want to say question, but issue or topic to bring up. Now, you have a fear of being sectioned over sharing your views on spirituality with your doctor. All right. Now, by the way, I'm going to give you my perspective on this one. Because again, I'm a pretty high frequency individual and I see a lot of patterns and I see a lot of meanings in those patterns. So I'm going to tell you what I see. By all means, if you or anybody watching this is just like, no, I definitely don't agree, that's absolutely fine. You do not have to take up this advice that I'm giving today. However, it is just how I would approach these fears that you have put in and how I kind of look at the world and so forth as well. So Emma, you say you you fear being sectioned over sharing your views or spirituality with your doctor that you see every 6 weeks? For one, I would like to say, spirituality, your knowledge of your being, of who you are, comes from right here, sweetheart. Nobody can tell you anything about what your truth is, how you feel, and what you find to be truth in your heart. So if you fear being sectioned because your doctor, of your doctor's opinion, for one, why do you care about an individual's opinion who clearly does not care about your own? Who is clearly going to put you in a box like everybody else out there and kind of say like, oh, well, I don't believe this, because your doctor is the one that doesn't believe in spirituality, right? Your doctor has been indoctrinated through an institutional system and program called the educational system, right? He has been indoctrinated and heavily paid a lot of money to get this certificate, when he really, or he or she or whatnot, has completely and utterly bypassed an entire section of the psyche, of the heart, of the body, that he knows nothing about. So if you have discovered this part of yourself, this part of your heart, this part of your truth, why would you be going to a doctor who is, again, very indoctrinated? Why would you be going to this individual to verify yourself? Right? Because I'll tell you, there is not one doctor on this planet, in this universe, that could tell me I'm either crazy, I am, silly, what I'm thinking is all in my head, because I'm just like, I look at that individual and I'm like, you're sick. You could have all the certificates in the world, but at the end of the day, you go home and you're sick, right? You still suffer with fear. You still suffer with anxiety. You still suffer with illness. How many doctors go to another doctor? How many doctors go to their own therapists, their own doctors? They don't heal themselves, right? And by the way, if anybody here is a doctor and you're just like, oh my gosh, well, I doubt it. I doubt you're here and you're a doctor, to be honest with you. But you may not like what I say, or you may know people who are doctors and everything like that. I don't really give two rats' asses, to be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, an individual that doesn't even trust their own opinion about their own health has no business giving opinions to others about their health. All right? So when you say you feel like you are being sectioned, or you have a fear over being sectioned, well, simply do not speak your truth to this individual. If you don't trust that they are trusting you, why are you trusting them? Why are you trusting them? And you say most doctors don't believe and put spirituality down. Yes, they do. Again, because it is through an indoctrination system. The educational system indoctrinates individuals. We are born with this beautiful mind, with our heart, with our empathy, with our sentience, with the knowledge of the universe and how to go with the flow, because that's what children do. And that's why you see children develop at phenomenal rates, right? A child can go from not knowing how to walk to freaking running and exploring a bunch of shit in literally a year or two. And you're like, wow, they grow so fast. Well, yes, they grow fast because they are in touch with their hearts. They're in touch with themselves. And we allow children to be themselves. But as soon as we get into school, and we are then start to be programmed, right? And indoctrinated. We are told that, no, you have to follow this form, this constraint. And if you don't, you're not a member of society, right? And then for those individuals who have really, really gotten really, really good in their indoctrination, they get to go on to university, to get a PhD, to get this and that, to really prove that you are completely square in the mind and that you will not delve away from these studies that you have put so much effort and time in. Meaning they are closed off. They are closed. So, yes, that's why they put spirituality down, because they didn't read it in a book. You can't read spirituality in a book. And yes, I know every single person that's going to be watching with this. You're going to be saying things like, but I have lots of books. I read about spiritual things all the time from this person, from that person, from that. And I'm like, you know what? That's beautiful if you can gain something from it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's all about you. The true knowledge of your being, the true knowledge of the universe, the true knowledge of energy will always and forever come from your heart and come from yourself. So whenever you are looking for a question, or whenever you are seeking an answer to a question, all you have to do is sit with yourself for 5 minutes to feel for the answer, and it will be presented to you. But again, we look outside and we trust these individuals who have been indoctrinated to say that, oh no, you read it in 1,000,000 books, so you must know what's right. And I'm not going to trust my own self and trust my own heart, which is silly, right? So we've got that one down there. So you have a deep passion to say what you're searching for, and people are being wrongfully labeled and sectioned over their spiritual and religious belief. Well, to be honest with you, my sweetheart, if you feel like you are being wrongfully labeled, then why are you focusing on those individuals who are labeling you wrongly? You know, I am an incredibly deeply connected individual. You know, I speak wisdom, I speak truth, and I speak knowledge because I found it all right here, right? There's many people, I'm sure, that will come to me and they won't resonate with my truth. They won't resonate with the message that I have. And they could tell me, oh, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you're that. And I'm like, I don't really care, right? I'm not going to focus on those people because at the end of the day, they are not me. They are not on my path. They are not within my life's journey. So why am I taking the advice or the opinions of individuals who have nothing to do with my truth and my heart, right? So Emma, to help you overcome this fear, I will literally just say, if you don't trust your doctor, for one, stop going to him, right? Or her, him or her. If you don't trust him, stop going to him. If they're not bettering your life in any way, literally stop going to them. Step 2, if you do not want to be wrongfully labeled, stop focusing on the individuals who are lower frequency or who are labeling you. Because if you are being labeled, you are also being judged. What is judgment? Judgment in itself is fear. So why are you letting another person's fears affect you, right? Screw that. Doesn't make sense. So don't put your focus on it. That was a really long down explanation, and I'm going to go through a couple of the comments that I have here. Hopefully I didn't miss too many. Okay. So let's have a look here. Molly, I've been exhausted. Yes, again, frequency increase throughout the world. Lots of ringing in the ears. Lots of really being tired. Lots of soreness, aches and pains, and so forth. This is happening, and it's going to accelerate a hell of a lot more in the next coming weeks as well, hitting 2019. Virgin, I have a bad leg and my foot, lots of pain, been resting. Yes, please, please rest, because if you have any other illnesses or ailments at the moment with this frequency increase, your energies your body's tired, right? So rest. But I promise you, when you rest, Virgin, when you rest and give your body the time it needs, when the frequency increases have gone through, you'll find that your leg will just be like accelerated in terms of healing, because your body is now stabilized to the new fluctuation of energy that's coming through. But Virgin, you also say, yes, people think I'm crazy, so I don't talk to people. I'd be afraid. Virgin, don't be afraid to speak, though. And this is to everybody. When you have your truth, speak it. Those who value your truth, value your wisdom, value your honesty that is coming from your heart, will appreciate what you have spoken about. Those who don't, like, that's why I say, for Virgin and anybody else who has this mad need to share your knowledge and share your truth. I always go by this way. If you have somebody who asks you for the information, share it freely, right? Because they're interested and they're asking, and no doubt they are going to value what you are giving to them. However, I would not recommend simply going onto the street or going on to anybody who comes to you and just be like, hey, do you know about frequency and the ethereal? Do you know about psychic abilities and how self-healing can really, like, no. Because that individual at that point is not ready to hear the information that you have. So, for one, you would speak and it would be a waste of your energy and a waste of your breath, because they would not understand what it is that you are trying to convey in the first place. So, for everybody, don't be scared of speaking your truth. Just make sure that, you know, the individuals who you're speaking to have requested the information, so that you're not wasting your energy speaking on it. Okay. Maud, hey! Jay, my fear is silly. I've been in combat, shot at, etc. My fear is driving over bridges with deep water. Totally irrational, but I still tense up nonetheless. Oh, Jay, right. That is a, you know what I'm going to do? You know what? Screw it. I'm going to literally read a few of the other comments just based on this first, and then we're going to come back to that one, Jay. Because I definitely want to address that, because there's a lot of people with PTSD from the war, right? From all of the wars that are going on. And we need to help these individuals who have come home and suffered this trauma. Because at the end of the day, the indoctrination system of the school, when you go to school, you are taught to follow orders. If you don't follow these orders, you get reprimanded or punished. And then they take these children. I'm sorry, Jay, I'm not saying that you're a child when you joined or anything like that. But just in general, you know, they take kids who have, again, been indoctrinated, give them a gun, you know, give them training. And Jay, I'm sorry if you're just like, my training was excellent. I definitely know a lot of the training for a lot of individuals is not excellent. It is training that is incited in fear. It is training that is aggressive. It is training that is lacking compassion, you know, for what it is. But it is training for war. And you cannot have compassion when you are physically taught or trained to go out and shoot, to kill, to do these things, to act in violence. So at the end of the day, and when you have a heart, when you are truthful to yourself, when you do have compassion, and when you're put into these situations, like so many of our young and men, women are in war, they come back. And that trauma holds their heart hostage and under duress because it was nonsensical in the first place. So I'm going to go back to this one. Molly, I went to a therapist and I became his therapist. He would tell me all his issues, Molly. Right. Like I say, we look at people who have a certificate to say that they know all about health, whether it be mental or physical. But yet, when it comes down to it, they are simply people living in the same shit like everybody else. They may drive a nicer car. They may have, you know, a pretty piece of paper to show what they've done. But they are still people who are still sick. Just like everybody else. You know the blind leading the blind? It's the sick trying to heal the sick. If I've got a blasted cold and I'm coughing in your face, but I'm like, here, take some Advil, take some Neocitrin. I'll know what will make you better, but here I am sniveling and I can't. All right, there we go. So sniveling and can't make myself better. So this is what it is, right? We have to open our eyes and we have to appreciate what it is that we are seeing, right? And who it is we are placing our trust in for the care of our own bodies. Okay. Jay, I'm a great swimmer too. So yes, bridges and, let's have a look here. I'm going to go right back up here again, because I want to make sure I'm not missing that. Jay, what I may do is I may, if anything, ask you to repeat this question if I can't see it again, but driving over bridges with deep water. Okay, so we'll do that. And you are a fantastic swimmer, so we'll go through that. Okay. So here we go. Let's get on to some, that's true. My doctor said he's going through anxiety, Virgin. Right? They're people just like you and I. Oh, Jesus. Thomas, beautiful preach. Oh, thank you. I will. Michael, you're a godsend. Oh, thank you. I just hope that my knowledge and my truth is helping. Okay, Jay, anxiety is part of my Army disability. Anxiety and PTSD. Oh, this is it. But this is what the Army produces. Anxiety, because it triggers deep fear within you. And anxiety is the continual worry of the future, because you believe that it is, or part of your heart, that emotional energy that literally was built whilst you were in this. You know, being shot at, that is terrifying. I don't give a shit what anybody wants to say. You get a gun pointed at you, and you know that gun is firing at you. Whether it hits you or not doesn't make a damn difference. That is scary as shit. That hits your heart, that fear, if you are not prepared for it, right? And even if you are prepared to have a gun in your face, I'd like to know, what the shit are you doing every day to prepare yourself for that kind of fear? Oh, we are going to go through this. Thomas, so how do you feel about Christ? Thomas, in this specific one, when it comes to Christ, I definitely believe in the Christ consciousness, but I also believe, well, that there was and is a Christ consciousness, and it is present and here today in this world. If for those of you who may have covered when I've covered this in other kind of lives, that's for you, Laura, if you're watching. However, the Christ consciousness is achieved through internal looking within your soul, right? It is looking within yourself to discover this kind of consciousness, because it is a certain frequency, a thought frequency level that is achieved. You have to be both in unison in your heart and in your mind, and literally know what that means as well to achieve the Christ consciousness, and then going above and beyond. Now, here's the funny thing. When it does come to the Christ consciousness, it has absolutely nothing to do with what is taught in religion. Nothing to do with what is taught in religion. It is almost an opposite. The consciousness of Christ, when it is looked at in a religious, it is there actually as a tool of manipulation, as a tool of look outside of yourself and follow this figure that we've made up in your mind because he told you to do this and that. I'll tell you this one thing. You know, when they say Jesus fed 5,000 people with 1 loaf of bread and 1 fish, he would have never offered fish to anybody, because fish is poison. It is poison to your body, right? Ooh, we're going to have to do this on an... Ooh, okay. Michael, in the next coming, my wife and Richie and I are listening to you, and this is just awesome. Oh, wonderful, Michael. I'm so glad you are finding this useful, because I'm going to definitely get onto a hell of a lot more things. Michael, I have that bridge phobia too. Ah, okay. And Thomas, how do I clean the cell? Susan, yes, Richard has been asking questions finally. Oh, there you go, Susan. Your frequency is raising and you're finally bringing him up there with you. Jay, I'm not suicidal, and I was a child when I joined. My training was great. I'm 92 years logistician. I was paid for my mind. Right. True indeed, it's not easy to take a human life. It messes with you. Definitely, definitely. Okay. So when we look at Jay, I definitely want to get through this, because again, there's a lot of people who are dealing with PTSD who are coming out, and you know, thank you very much for being here as well. As you're saying there, you're 92 years old. Well, hopefully, if you are waking up and interested in this information that we have today, hopefully we can get the aging process reversed for you, so you can have many, many more years of bliss, if that is what you want. So when it comes to the army, bridges in deep water. One moment, my sweetheart. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to find the link between bridges. One second. Because this is a regular thing. And I'm not quite sure exactly what goes in terms of army training specifically when it comes to water. You know what? I'm actually going to do, I'm going to look into this a little bit further in terms of the specific link between bridges and deep water and where this fear is actually coming from. Oh, you're not 92. It says like I'm a 92 year. I thought that was like 92 years old. I was just like, oh shit, that's pretty good. Okay. You know what? If anything, when it comes to the link again with the bridges and water specifically, I will see what that happens, because I know that there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of things that you see when you're in war, right? Is your job designation? Yeah, I have no clue what a 92Y means then, sweetheart. That's something I'm like, okay, sure. But perhaps you'll explain this to me a little bit later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch on PTSD in itself, okay? And what you can kind of do to help combat this. Post-traumatic stress disorder, it is basically a term used, or I don't want to say it is a term used, but it is a term created, I suppose I will say, to describe the trauma that you, of course, are receiving. Now, I've had to go through PTSD myself, again, from trauma and so forth. Now, with me, I was literally suppressive, and I suppressed everything to wipe it away from my entire psyche, right? So, sorry, I'm trying my best to get, oh no, 92 Yankee, logistical specialist. Oh, sweetheart, yeah, I don't know those terms, but you're 42. Okay, gotcha. So, thank you very much for clarifying that. So, when we're dealing with PTSD, or when you're dealing with an individual with PTSD, the first thing you have to recognize and realize is that they are literally perfectly well individuals. It is literally just the trauma that is overshadowing them. PTSD does not have to be permanent. It is not something that is like, oh, you know what, it has changed me and I will never be the same again and I'm going to constantly live in this fear and anxiety for the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay? So many people, when they come back or when they have suffered PTSD, they are told by their doctors, you know, you've got to manage this. Manage it with therapy. Manage it with all these pills, all this antidepressant, all these drugs. You know, manage it and cope as best as you can. But I'm like, why? Why cope? You are underneath the fear, underneath the trauma that has went through. You are perfectly whole. You are perfectly well. All we need to do is clear out this trauma to find understanding. Now, to do this, you need to actively do inner work. And it's very, very difficult because if you're suffering from PTSD, it is like the flight or fight response that is within you, within your energy, and you are fleeing. You are fleeing, because if you, and Jay, I'm going to use you as an example. Again, I know this is unrelated because it's bridges in deep water that you are fearful of. But going through this though, like, you know, if you were shot at and you literally, as a individual who did not fully understand the truth of the situation you were getting into, right? Because if you understood truthfully what you were doing or what you were about to do that caused this torrential buildup of fear, right, in you, it wouldn't happen. Because when you are in understanding, you are in truth. It is only through lies that causes the fear. So, for example, right, you were trained how to hold a weapon, how to fire it at somebody, how to, you know, like, oh, you're taking fire, get down, run, stay low to the ground. You were trained all of that for all of that stuff. However, your mind and your heart knew during training that you weren't really in any, you weren't going to die. Now, I'm not saying that people don't, but I'm saying that when you are in this training, you don't have the thought process isn't deep in your heart to say like, oh, yes, I'm going to perish in this, right? So, of course, when you get over to the situation, which you were lied to during training, right? You get over to the situation and you realize your heart and your mind at that point realize just how serious this is. Your fight or flight responses are kicking in besides the training that you've had. And especially if you are repetitively in these situations, you are building up a mass amount of adrenaline and that feeling, right? Those emotions of fear are so strong, right? So I want you to think like, you know, if you have a fear of spiders, you know about your fear of spiders. So every time you see a spider, it's like, ooh, it's heebie-jeebies. Now, I want you to think, if you had a fear of spiders over 20 years, get that 20 years of fear. Every time you screamed at a spider, every time you went, oh gosh, or everything like that, compact 20 years of fear into a moment, right? And that's the energy that is built up and suppressed when it comes to PTSD, when it comes to your fight or flight response. So you have literally a shitload of fear energy or of negative energy that has been compacted and then pushed into you in a very, very short space of time. So of course, if you've then not been taught how to process this in that time, how to find the truth in the situation and stop it from happening, again, repetitively, right? If you've not been trained to do that, that's when this fear, this energy that literally is now going to stay there until it's processed, haunts these veterans, haunts these individuals going through life, right? That's why, you can have such, as you say, irrational behaviors or irrational feelings at the push of a button. Now, Jay, I know this may not be for you specifically, but this is just in general for PTSD, or kind of hopefully a better explanation of what it is. But I can tell you, when you literally can clear this out, when you can clear and process this, you can be free of it. You need to come to a place of understanding. Need to come to a place of understanding. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple more of these comments here. And then we're going to go through, then we're going to go back onto the fears that I have on my laptop here. And we're going to get there. Thomas, how do you clean the soul? You do that by inner work, my sweetheart. Inner work. Okay. Christine, my fear is what is going to happen to the world and not being able to keep my children, family, and friends safe. Fear of dying also. Christine, you've posted that fear on my bits here, so I'm going to get down to that one a little bit later. Thomas, I want to quit smoking cigarettes. Then quit, sweetheart. I recommend going for cannabis instead. It'll heal your body and still give you the satisfaction. Iris, hello, love. Oh, you are not really coming out of the bed like me. I know. To be honest with you, I've been doing a lot more lives from my bed because I just feel like being comfortable. I'm not going to lie. Jay, lol, you're not my therapist. I don't need one, but interesting dialogue is great. There you go. And I don't claim to be anybody's therapist. You will not find a certificate of indoctrination anywhere in my house, but just a different perspective to look at. Okay. So, Steve, you say, what does Christ consciousness mean? Wow, we have to understand, Steve, that's a great question. Thomas, Christ was just a man, not the Son of God. This metaphysical conversation can go real deep, you guys. Real deep. So what does Christ consciousness mean? Well, Christ consciousness means, again, it is a specific thought frequency that can only be achieved through a certain pattern of actions. Those actions are through deep self-discovery and, of course, going through love. Now, Thomas, you say Christ was just a man, not the Son of God. The consciousness of Christ, consciousness is energy, right? God, source of creation, universal energy, this is all energy. When we say the Christ consciousness was the Son of God, firstly, when we are saying son, it is not because he was a physical male, it was because his energy was more so on the male energy spectrum. Again, energy is a hermaphrodite. There is no sex. There is no true male or female when it comes to energy. But it is the description of where the energies are balanced. You know, if you have more male energy, that is the force of creation. That is the frequency and the thought pattern of creation, getting new patterns into play. You know, that's why we say God was a man or Jesus was a man, because again, it is the energy that forces creation. Right? Whereas feminine energy is that of nurturing, right? That's why we have Father, Son, which is the force of creation, the energy given to the earth for creation, and Mother Earth, which is taking that energy and nurturing life and all the flora and fauna that are there. So the Christ consciousness can be achieved within man, but it is not something you are born into. You know, there is no specific individual that is born as Christ, right? So that whole thing where Christ was born on December 25th, and that's all complete and utter rubbish. Christ can be born in any vessel, in any man, woman, or anything like that. It is a process of achieving this thought frequency, right? So Christ can also be in a woman's body, right? Christ can be in any body if that consciousness has literally raised and elevated to that point of being able to find that thought frequency. Because when you're able to find that thought frequency, that's when, you know how Jesus performed miracles? I shouldn't do that, because he did perform miracles. You know, it was not because they were actual miracles. It was with that frequency, that thought frequency, came understanding of the universal energy and how it is wielded. All right. So, for example, you know, when people were say that Christ would touch an individual and instantly heal them and said, "You are healed and you are well." Guess what? That's horiance. That is energy manipulation through empathy, sentience, and horiance. I can do the same thing. I literally can formulate my energy in my hand and in my body, and I can touch you and I can heal you, right? But I know that it is empathy, sentience, and horiance. And this is why I teach everybody else to do it too, right? So it's not this occult thing where like, oh, only one person can achieve this and now you have to do this. No, it is about that. And the Christ consciousness was also a teacher. And he actively went around and taught this. But the church and everything manipulated all the crap. And so now people think it's a complete, it's complete and utter horseshit what they say Jesus totally said. If you look back into the Gospel of Thomas, if anybody wants to look at that, which was removed and occulted for many years, that is the words of, more so the words of Jesus through his disciple. And you can see like he's talking about energy manipulation. He's talking about what is the right thing to eat. He's talking about non-governance of yourself and others, you know, only self-governance. Because, you know, when you find your heart, you find your morals, and you don't want to murder anybody. You do not want to cheat. You do not want to lie because you have found your heart. But anyway, that is definitely has nothing to do with fears. So I'm going to go down here and we're going to, Thomas, you must watch Hidden Colors. Is that the one with Oprah? I'd have to have a look, but I don't tend to watch any movies. I find it very, very difficult. Nikki, I am terrified of spiders since I was a little girl. Oh, bless you. So many people are. Oh, Jay, no, I was shot at and shot in the face. My soldier saved my life by calling my name because he saw the shooter. I killed the shooter, but was compounded. The issues, us that the shooter was a 10 to 12-year-old Iraqi kid. I have zero flight in me. Ah, yeah, Jay. You know when I'm saying things like your fight or flight responses kick in, and I'm not saying that you are either fighting or that you are flighting or fleeing, but there is a part of your soul, right, that closes off because of this response. You chose to fight, which you did. But that doesn't mean that the energy is any different, okay? Nobody is trying to say that you were not, that you are, that you are running away, that you're like, oh yeah, you're a deserter or anything. Nobody's trying to say that. What I'm trying to say is that the energy produced in that moment, because that energy is produced from your heart, it affects you deeply because it's a very, very high amount of energy that goes through, right? So that's basically what I was trying to say on that one. Ali, you say, you have a supernatural mind that I have never seen in my life, like you are an angel. Thank you very much, Ali. Incarnations, yes. No real facial star. I'm still cute. I'm sure you are, Jay. I'm sure you are. We are all beautiful. Michael, you are doing a service for everyone that's here, and I appreciate it. Oh, bless you, sweetheart. Thank you. Steve, do you believe we are all moving towards this consciousness? What would be the world we would be like if we were all arriving at that level? To be honest with you, Steve, this is my goal, is to Because again, I'm a very high frequency individual, so my goal is to use my energy to raise the frequency of mankind and the people that are around me, and so forth like that. This is what I'm going to say. Within 8 years, is it still? No, less? 7.5, around there. Yeah, 7.5, 8 years. We should get everybody at least within the 5D or the 5th dimension, and we're going to start seeing a lot more love, and then a lot more people are going to be there. But if you want to know what the world is going to be like, if everybody's on the love consciousness, it's going to be freaking fantastic. Because there's no sense in war, there's no sense in hate, there's no sense in judgment. Your primary goal is to be well and whole and to follow your heart's desires and truly play this game of life so that it is worth living and not so much struggle. When we have everybody who has achieved this consciousness, it means that we no longer need to learn any more lessons through fear, hate, and suffering because we've learned them, honey. Right? So now, after we've learned our lessons, we can now live with the fruits of our labor. All right? So that's what we want. Jay, loving the convo. I gotta go pretty soon, though. My wife is a professional bodybuilder, and I get in the house before she comes looking for me. I'm sure she has nothing but love. I'm sure she has nothing but love for you. There's nothing to fear. Okay, thank you so much for the comments, you guys. Okay, let's go on to another comment. So the next fear that we have is for Diane Ramnarayan. Sorry, Ramnarayan. My fear is taking a chance and losing at the end with all of my hard work by trusting people and getting effed up in the end. So tired of that. Ah, right. Fear of taking a chance and losing at the end with all of my hard work by trusting people and getting effed up in the end. So tired of that. Now, I know, Diane, that you are not the only person who has felt this. Not the only person who has felt this. And thank you ever so much for putting this out there, because I know this is going to help a lot of people coming through. So you have a fear. Steve, sounds good, Ness. I see we are aligned beings. Of course. If you are vibing on the frequency of love, then hey, we are Orla. Sorry, not Orla, Orlay. We are two hearts walking on the same path for the betterment of everybody, right? So this is awesome. Now, firstly, for Diane here, your fear is taking a chance and losing at the end. Okay? So again, what we have to look at is when you are fearful of taking a chance, why do we even take chances? Right? For one, like when it comes to me, and I'll give you my own kind of situations and so forth as well. But I don't take any chances. You know why? Not because there's not opportunity everywhere, not that there's like, woo, all this cool stuff. But I don't take a chance because I am aware of the situation. Right? I am aware because I notice everything around me. So it's not that I'm taking a chance, it's that I'm making a decision for the betterment of myself. All right? Now, if you are continually taking chances because you are unaware and you're not aware of your surroundings or what it is that you are trying to achieve, then really my advice for you on this one, my sweetheart, is to say, well, no, I'm not going to make a decision until I am solid in myself as to what it is that is going to, what the outcome is going to be, or the most likely outcome as to what that will be. Because it's not a chance, right? So, but losing at the end with all of my hard work by trusting people. I say this again. Why are you trusting other people who don't trust themselves? You need to trust yourself. Like, there is not one decision that I make that is based on another person's opinion. Not one decision. Because that other person is on a completely different life path journey from what I'm doing. Right? Their opinions are not valid within my life. So I'm not going to base my actions and decisions on their opinions. But what I can do is I can listen to what they have to say, and I can take what I need from that and discard what I don't. And then I can look inside myself and say, hey, with the information that I have, what is the best decision for me right now? What is the best decision for me right now? What is going to give me the most joy and happiness, not based on anybody else's opinion? Because at the end of the day, like I say again, if you trust another individual, again, that other individual doesn't even trust themselves, right? If you trust another individual and you place your hard-earned energy into this individual's opinion, and they're on a different path. So you, for example, you can meet, this is you, this is the other person. You're like, okay, yeah, we're talking, this sounds good, this sounds great. You're going to trust everything they say, but then they're going to start to go off this way. And you're still going down your path, and you're just like, I'm disappointed now. Well, their information was based on their path, not on yours, right? There is nobody that is with you more than you are with yourself. Think about that. There is nobody on this planet that is with you more than you are with yourself. Only you know what is best for you. Only you know what is best for you. If only you literally ask yourself instead of asking another individual. Right? So, to avoid this, because you are so tired of this, because you say you're so tired of getting screwed over at the end of this. But that's what I'm saying, sweetie. Stop following another individual then. You cannot be disappointed if you are not following the advice and opinion of somebody else. What you can happen, though, is let's say that you trusted your own self and maybe things didn't work out, right? But that's not something to be like, oh no, and get hard on yourself. That's when you look at, okay, what part of the pattern, what part of the puzzle in this lesson did I miss? And how am I going to change it for the future, right? Because this is all about learning lessons. If you fail, you simply reevaluate, reassess, and make changes. And make better decisions based on the next, right? Because that way, that is what progression is. That is what development is. Being able to change. But again, if you are looking outside, trusting other people, getting them to tell you what's good for you when they are only with you for 5 seconds, or for a couple hours every month, or every week or something like that. You are with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know what's best for you. Trust yourself, sweetie. And for example, if you do not trust yourself, if you're just like, no, I can't do that, I don't know how to trust myself, then that means there is something inside you that you are fearing of your own self, right? And what we have to remember as well is that we fear the unknown. We fear the unknown. So if you fear yourself, it is because you do not know yourself, sweetheart. Right? If you do not trust yourself, it's because you fear yourself. You fear yourself, you don't know yourself. Get to know yourself, and you'll realize that there is nothing but love and trust within your own heart for yourself. Right? And then you'll know that any decisions that you make thereon after will be a beneficial one. Right? So that is what I got for you there, Diane, my sweetheart. Okay, so let's have a look at what we got here. And I'm just going to go back over some of these here. So we've got Jay, I agree, there's no sense in judgment, but sometimes there is a time for war. Oh, Jay, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. I'll totally let you guys know why I have this stance. Personally, I believe that there is only a reason for war if you are ill and unaware of it. And when I say ill, I mean ill as in distracted, or you can't find the patterns in things. Now, if you have a bunch of sick people who can't see the patterns in things, what happens is there's disagreements, there's negativity. When there's disagreements and negativity, then there's somebody at the top of the pyramid going, I don't like you guys, send the troops. And then you are finding that you are in Iraq, in these situations, or you're in some other war at any point in time. Because let's face it, who the hell would want to travel thousands of miles away to literally incite or be in a situation of pain and suffering and violence? Nobody actually wants to do this. Nobody really, really wants to do this. However, if the only time there is a sense in war is through defense, right? But again, if everybody is well, if everybody is living within truth of their heart, well in their mind, seeing the patterns, and if everybody could be like, well, okay, you're sending me to war, but why? Truly, why? I want to look into the history of the individuals who are making this decision. I want to look at the connections that they have between the people that you want me to go kill, you know, who you want me to suppress or who you want me to take control over. It's like, I want to know exactly what that is. Now, when I know exactly what your motives are for asking me this, then I want to go into the opposition. I want to go to the other side. I want to see why is it? What is happening in their situation that calls for me to actually take action when I don't know any of these people? Right? Because that's it, though. War is nonsensical when people are healthy and well. War happens because there is a lack of resource or disagreement. Right? The disagreement is usually based on resources. So if everybody was well and healthy, and when they came into the knowledge that there is abundance for absolutely every single individual, right? When you have people who are well fed, right? Their pineal gland, their minds are working perfectly fine. Their bodies are healing themselves, right? So just think, if you are perfectly well in yourself, you are lacking for nothing. You have food, you have water, you have sunlight, you have air. You have the freedom to go wherever you want. One, you are not going to be an individual that is programmed for violence. People who are violent individuals, they are normally individuals who have suffered some mental trauma or they are lacking. If you think of somebody who is stealing, why are they stealing? Right? Why are they stealing? Is it to get money? What is the money for? Resources, right? If they are stealing simply a resource, if they're stealing bread, if they're stealing food, if they're stealing these, again, resources, okay? If people are being, let's have a look at, people who are murdering other people. Let's say that, oh, you know what, this person killed their spouse. This person is a bad person. They killed this person. They killed that person. Why? Why did they do that? How many men will kill their spouse through jealousy? So they were jealous, or they found their wife or their partner in bed with another individual. So they kill that individual, or they kill their wife, right, or their spouse, right? You'd look and just be like, oh, well, we got to get those bad people. We got to get them off the street. They're bad. No, they're just not well. What has gone into the social manipulation to cause a man to react in such a way over something as simple as sex? There is a hurt in their heart at that moment. There is a hurt in their heart and an inability to process the information, to process the emotion. Now, why do we have this individual unable to process this information and process this emotion when they have lived in a society that is apparently all love? Well, no, they haven't. It has been social manipulation since they were a child. Suppression of the emotions. So of course, when you have an individual who has been emotionally suppressed and taught that way, then they grow up, cannot handle their emotions, then they act erratically in these emotions, and then we look at them to say, oh no, you deserve to be killed now. No, they deserve to be healed. We need to stop the cycle. If we can heal people's minds and if we can heal their hearts, then what do we have for war? Because I tell you, when you are healthy, when you are good, when you are eating the right foods, when you are drinking clean water, when you are not under duress, when your emotions are not suppressed but processed, when you are taught to love rather than fear and hate, I tell you, there is no need or want for you to go to war. No need or want for you to go to war. All right? Sorry, that was a super rant there. Super rant. But again, this is just my opinion. I don't like Band-Aids. I literally look to the deepest parts of the patterns for solutions. So many people look at the crime and the justice system as oh, well, we need police officers, we need all of these things to keep law and just and order. But I'm like, what's the point in having a law if nobody is, like, why do we have a law to say that it's illegal to kill somebody when I don't want to kill somebody in the first place? Why? Because I don't want to. Because I'm healthy, I'm well, I can balance my emotions. You know, there's no need to do it. And when you are living in such love and when you're healed, literally all you want to do is make love to the person you love, be with your family, be with your children, eat well, live, and be happy and merry. You have no need or desire to be violent or go and inflict violence on another individual, right? Especially when you don't know who has not done any harm upon you. Personally. Okay? So if we all were to look at that on an individual basis, you would find that, again, war is not necessary. But anyway, again, we can agree to disagree on that one, sweetie. Michael, you need a TV show. Thank you. I hate TV, though. Jay, yes, she has nothing but love for me, lol. Without her and my daughter, I don't know where I'd be. There's my cornerstones. Oh, beautiful. Enjoy them, sweetheart. Okay. So I'm going to go back again and look down here. Rush, you say, let's not forget positive education always corrects errors and peace. Yes. Education of yourself, education of your heart, education of your soul will correct and align everything. Because when you realize that you are an individual of love, and when you realize you are a being of light, love being light, right? When you get your knowledge and your education from your own self, from your own vibration, from the universe that is love, there is nothing but peace that can happen. That is the direct result of it. So yes, thank you, Rush. Morning, Jen. Okay, sweeties. Alrighty, let's go on to the next fear that we have. So the next fear comes from Sue Ann. And I'd just like to, as a reminder, if you are enjoying this conversation and if you feel that you are benefiting from it, please do share it. Share this live. Let everybody else kind of, if they are relating to the fears that these beautiful individuals have said, and if it can help them, please share it. Okay, so Sue Ann says, okay, I am angry right now, and I'm trying to figure out what has got me here, because this is a pattern. I do realize some of what got me here, but as it's still manifesting, I must be missing pieces. I'm at the point where I'm not sure how to transform out of this pattern, and it's at a critical threshold. As a woman who learned to not rock the boat from an early age, I internalized it. I don't want to anymore. I want to wield it in a way that's healthy and positive and assertive. I would love some help and understanding so I can break through this frustration and scary cycle that keeps me bound. If you can, that would be wonderful. If it's my own learning, then I shall keep trying to figure it out. And I know, I thank you for the possibility. Oh, bless you, Sue Ann. Yes, again, Sue Ann, my sweetheart, I am going to literally give you what I got on this one. I'm going to give you what I got on this one. So we've been talking already about a lot of, inner work and discovering yourself and so forth as well. But I'll give you my 2 cents on this. And yes, it is still something that you're going to have to do when it comes to learning about yourself, right? What we need to appreciate is that when we have feelings of anger and frustration, right? They are there. It is your trigger. It is your signal, if you want to say, that you need to look into this, right? Positive education and self-awareness. Yes, Jay, excellent. When you start feeling feelings of anger, frustration, fear, or anything like this, it's like, when you're driving your car and the oil light comes on and keeps beeping at you? Well, that's the signification that, oh, there's something wrong. You need to change this now if you want your car to keep working, right? Same kind of thing for you, Susan, and same kind of thing for, Sue Ann, and it's the same thing for absolutely everybody. As you said, you, as a woman who learned to not rock the boat from an early age. For one, my sweetheart, what kind of boats you be rocking? To be honest with you. This frustration and this anger is within your own boat. It's within your own ship. Okay? So the more you stop, the more you look past it in this pattern, you know, as just something that is coming externally and coming towards you, the longer it is going to stay with you, because you need to come to the realization that, again, this anger and frustration is produced from within you, right? The same way that, you know what, if somebody were, sorry, I'm going to stretch a little bit too. My legs need to stretch out. Let's say you have somebody who is a Dungeons and Dragons master. You know that card and board game, right? And let's say they had a super awesome cloak made of velour and, you know, gold insignia and so forth. Now, let's say that individual had spilt something on their coat, on their cloak. Now, to them, that's going to be really, 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 really frustrating for them. It's going to make them so freaking angry. It's going to be like, what? What's happening? But for you, Sue-Ann, you don't really care. Why? Because you are in control of your emotion. There's no emotional trigger for that internally. You don't share the same anger for this person's cloak that is so precious to them. You don't share the same anger with them because, again, there is no internal emotional trigger. Right? So, if you are frustrated and angry right now, it is because you are being triggered internally. Not externally, but internally. So, if you want to get through this phase because you say that it is a pattern, then all you got to do is you've got to start just trusting yourself and listening to your heart in the moment. If you're frustrated in the moment, I want you to stop what you're doing. I want you to go find a quiet place for like 15 minutes. And I want you to just be like, why the shit am I frustrated? And I want you to be honest with you. Honest with yourself in this moment whilst you are doing it. And you can't, I don't want you to, oh good, Sue-Ann, you're here. I know it's internal, it's my pattern. Right, and this is how we change those patterns there, Sue-Ann. This is how we change these patterns. Again, I want you to find 15 minutes. And I want you to, or however long you need, really, to be honest. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, if it's an hour, doesn't matter. But in that moment, as soon as that frustration comes on to you, or you feel that the situation is producing this anger, you need to sit with yourself and you need to be like, you know what? What the hell is happening? What am I frustrated for? You know what? I'm frustrated. I don't know what your Oh, Susan. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. But Susan, like literally, if whatever is frustrating you in that moment, I don't know what situation it could be, but I'm just going to give out a random one here. If what's frustrating you is, let's say you got cut off by that guy, right? You were driving and somebody cut you off, right? And I want you to be like, whoo, okay, why am I frustrated? Well, that dick cut me off. Why am I frustrated that he cut me off? Well, because it was dangerous and he made my heart jump a little bit because I was a bit scared at that point. Well, why am I a little bit scared? Well, because I don't want to get into a car accident. You know, I don't want to get into a car accident, and that is scary. Then you have to go by and be like, but am I in a car accident right now? No, I'm not. Am I perfectly safe and well right now? Yes, I am. So is this emotion valid right now in terms of causing this reaction in me? Well, I'm frustrated, I'm pissed off, but no, I'm safe. I'm safe, I'm calm. So what are we going to do with it now? Oh, I got his license plate number. You know what? I'm going to report him so that he doesn't do it again with somebody else. Done. That frustration, that energy that was produced from that frustration has now been released. All right? The next time it happens, or, for example, there shouldn't be a next time, because the next time you drive, you're going to be more aware of people. And when you see a jerk driving, you know, like a little bit of a lunatic, you're gonna hold back, and you're just gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna let this person do what they're doing, because I know I don't need that kind of stress in my life. Right? Slowly but surely, your pattern will literally go. Okay? And I know I've just given you kind of like a very, very basic explanation. But whatever it is, follow that same step. If you are with an individual who consistently gets you angry, right? Every time you're with them, it could be a work colleague. Normally it is a lot of work colleagues, you know, because you're forced to be with them, but you can't go because you gotta do your work, right? Or it may be somebody in your family that you live with, or a roommate or something that you are forced to be together. You know, if you come up to an individual that consistently drives you nuts and causes you anger because of what they're saying to you, do the same thing. You take a step back and just be like, what did they say that made me angry? Why does that trigger me to have this emotion, right? And take it from the step back, always being clearly and openly honest with yourself. Never lie to yourself, okay? And I don't want you to be like, oh, this person got me so angry and frustrated, but you know what? I'm going to make excuses for them. Don't make excuses for them. Not at all. Just be like, they got me angry because they said this, and that was wildly inappropriate, and it was rude, and it was insensitive, and it lacked compassion. You know, literally say it. And say it out loud, say it proudly, and just be like, no, that person was a dick. You know? But then, again, go into yourself and just be like, okay, but why? Why am I reacting this way? And look at it truthfully and just be like, you know what? I reacted this way because somebody in my childhood used to speak to me in the same way, right? Used to be suppressive and rude, and I can't stand taking it, right? And that's where this emotion is being triggered because of this person at that point, and it made me feel that way. Well, you know what? I am not worth being spoken to in this way because I know my worth. So when this individual goes and does this again, what is my next step? Well, I'm not going to let this person speak to me this way. I'm going to literally, as I find that they are speaking to me in a derogatory way, I'm going to calmly say, excuse me, no. I don't like the way you're speaking to me. You're being rude and you're being inconsiderate. If you want my attention, you want my time, and you want my focus, you will treat me with respect. Otherwise, you can go on your way and live in peace. And that's what you do. And you turn around and you just be like, good day to you. However, if that triggers them to be like, oh shit, sorry, Susan, I understand. I'm going to treat you in a different way. Then that's up to you as to whatever you want to do. But literally, Susan, my prime bit of advice for you is to stop internalizing it. You are aware that you are internalizing it, so stop it. Process it and understand it in the moment, right? And then when you have time, do this privately as well, but with any other issue that you have. It is called inner work, right? And I know those of you who watch me on a regular basis hear me say it on a regular basis. Inner work, inner work, inner work. It's what we need, sweetheart. So I hope that the little bit of advice helps you out today. Okay, so let's go on here. Angie, Koalajo, Kolawaj. Oh shit, I will get it at some point, but this is for Angie. Alrighty, Angie says, my frustration, my vehicles, everything is growing wrong with them all at once. I can't keep up in the repairs. Angie, the frustration of your vehicles, and I'm going to. Oh, Susan, that does help. Wonderful, thank you, sweetheart. I'm glad though that does help for you. Glad it helps for today. Angie, with your frustration, I ain't gonna lie to you, Angie. I was speaking to Rickshaw just today because he kind of gave me because what happens is when Cola J, thank you, Kalo J. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to say Angie. I'm going to get Angie Rickshaw. So I was actually speaking to Rickshaw just today because what happens is whenever one of your spirits wants to contact me, their name just shows up in my head. I could be doing whatever and it's like, la 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 la, Rickshaw. And I'm like, oh, hey, sweetheart, what's up? And one of the main things here, sweetheart, is... And you're probably going to disagree very, very wildly with me. And if you do, then that's totally cool too, sweetheart. Is it really the frustration of the vehicles always breaking down, stopping you from doing what you want to do? Or is it really frustration at the fact that you are doing things that you don't want to do? You rely on these vehicles to do things you don't want to do. And because you're doing things you don't want to do, but you feel trapped that you have to do them in order to make a living, in order to get all the things in, that literally you are frustrated with just general life at the moment because you're far too overworked, you're incredibly exhausted. You know, you've got your beautiful children around, you know, little ones, teenagers, they're still a handful. Then you work a crazy amount of hours in cold, walking, your body is literally at its wit's end. Now, with that being said, is it really the vehicles that are causing the frustration? Or are the vehicles just a little bit more added frustration in the whole pot of Angie being tired as shit? Right? Now, oh, sorry, Angie, you say, how convenient. I just got home from work and popped on and it's my turn. Right? Because Ricochet was just like, okay, listen. So really though, Angie, what I want you to kind of appreciate that in this situation, you are going through a transitional period. You are being forced, unfortunately, like the rest of the world, into making a decision. You are frustrated right now, but it is a frustration with life and with your circumstance and your situation. Right? So, circumstance and situation, right? To solve this frustration, I am going to say you need to start doing things that make you feel good. Listening to yourself and making better decisions. If you're, oh, let's have a look here. Ouch, brutally honest, nailed it. You know, you don't ask me questions unless you want honesty though, right? I worked 62.5 hours this week. Definitely added frustration. Yeah, because it's exhaustion. It's frustration, exhaustion, apathy. You know, it all builds. So what are you going to do? Because, sweetheart, this frustration isn't go if you continually stay in this pattern. Like Sue Ann was saying, you know, like she's frustrated because she's in this pattern. You, my dear, are in a pattern. But you cannot expect change, this frustration to ease, for it to simply disappear and things to get better when you are doing the same thing. You've been in this job for so long. How many times in this job has it gotten better versus gotten more stressful? Think about that. From the time you said, okay, great, it's my first day, right? How many times have you been doing this position, doing this job, working in this pattern the way you have been working in this pattern? And how many times has it come out where you're just like, wow, I love life, I'm not frustrated, everything's great? Because I tell you, it's not very much, right? Your heart is calling for a change. Your mind is calling for a change. Your body is calling for a change. However, there is that fear that keeps you from changing. It stops you from moving forward. Because there's that kind of fear that basically keeps pounding in the back of your head that, oh no, if I stop this, if I make a change, it means then that I'm going to lose out. I'm not going to have as much as I do now. I'm going to lose my stability. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills and do this and do that. However, what is life if all you're doing is living through frustration? These are moments. Yes, transitioning is hard, but they are moments. You need to make the decision to transition and transition into something that is for the betterment of yourself. That's just what you need to do. That is my advice to you anyway. It is, of course, always and foremost yourself that you should seek that confirmation from, of course. But from what I can see in your pattern, you got to make a really big decision as to how you want to live your life going forward. Because this is not only for you, Angie, sweetheart, but this is for absolutely everybody who is watching, who has watched, who is just joining, and who has left, or it doesn't matter. 2019, the energy frequency increase that will go through the Earth's energy is going to be at a high, and it's just going to keep getting higher and higher and higher. That energy amplifies either the love or it amplifies either the fear, right? It amplifies love, it amplifies fear. So if you've got more fear in you than you got love in you, you're going to have amplified fear. And that amplified fear is going to make you seem like a deer caught in headlights, trapped in a pattern, until you make the change. However, if you can clear all that fear out now and just be on love, you're going to have an amplification of love and beautiful things coming to you. Angie, I genuinely like my job. I like the physical activity. It is definitely exhausting. It's demanding and wreaks havoc in my life with constantly being on call and never knowing if I'm really going to be off for the day. Angie, for one, I need you to stop lying to yourself right now. Okay, sweetheart? I need you to stop lying to yourself. If you genuinely liked your job, you'd do it for free. Can you tell me that if you did not get a paycheck, that you would do this for free? And I definitely know that answer is no, okay? If you can't do it for free, then do you genuinely like it? Genuinely. And when you say you genuinely like your job, but then you literally put in there, it is exhausting, demanding, and wreaks havoc in your life, constantly being on call and never knowing if you're really going to be off for the day. What in that statement did you just write that is genuinely positive? You said, I like the physical activity. There's plenty of jobs out there. There's plenty of things that you can do that offer you wonderful physical activity. Ones where you are not having havoc wreaked in your life. Ones where you are not consistently on call. Ones where you're not working 62.5 hours per week. Where you don't even have time to think, eat, repair your body, and heal yourself. There is a shitload more jobs out there that can give you physical activity. Right? That can give you physical activity. But when you're just like, oh, I really like my job, but then the list of all the things you don't like about your job is like totally outweighs it, you kind of got to be like, right? Angie, I genuinely like my paycheck. Much better. See, that makes a lot more sense to say, right? It's not the job, it's the paycheck, right? But you know what's shitty though, is that paycheck goes real quick. When you're paying for all the vehicles, when you're paying for the children, when you're paying for the house, when you're paying for the lights, when you're paying for the food, when you're paying for the water. And then when you look back and you're like, I love my paycheck, but what of it do I really have to spend to experience life with? Gain my health, gain happiness, and gain joy from? Energy exchange isn't equal. It's not equal. So at the end of the day, I want you to look at everything for the truth of what it is. You know? Look at your life, write down all the things that you truly enjoy, and write down all the things that you know you don't enjoy, how you normally feel, you know, and everything like that. And I want you to weigh up this list on the part where you can be like, I genuinely enjoy these things. How can you do more of that? You need to focus on those things. Versus when you have that list on the other side that's like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. I want you to go through each of those and I want you to be like, well, how can I change this? What can I do to actively change that? And then I want you to do it. All right? Don't make any excuses. Just simply do it. Follow your flow. You are an energy flow, or flowist, if you want to say. You are an energy manipulator. When you can literally understand your own energy flow by living in the positive things that you like to do, you will find that you will be like Domino out of Deadpool 2. You know, when you start focusing on the things that you love, that you like, and you literally gear yourself towards those, more of that list will start to get real big, and the list of negativity will start to get real small until it's not even there. All right? So we got to have a look at those things. All right, sweetie? But I hope that helps. So this one is for, the next fear we have here is for Susan Buck. Okay, Susan, right. My frustration is not having the brain information for me to go forward, and my fear is not getting the crown. I'm up and down constantly, and it's really starting to pee me off. My developments are so slow. Okay. So, Susan, I will say this. Angie, what did Rickshaw come to you today for? I'm not telling you. Because if I tell you, you're going to mess up your own flow. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like cruel or anything like that when I say you're going to mess up your own flow. But if you know what it is right now, what he came to me for, because he came to me for a request, and I helped him with that request. But if I tell you what that request is, you're going to think about it, and you're probably going to delay it, so I'm not going to tell you. If you want to know, though, I'm going to suggest that you talk to Rickshaw yourself. Alrighty. Because I'm not having this bugger out. I'm putting a lot of energy into this. And I want it to come to fruition without any delays. Alrighty. So, but like I said, simply do what you got to do. Susan, oh dear, I was on a day, but yes, I will take the truth, lovely. Okay, Susan Buck. Yes, thank you, sweetie. Okay. Susan, you are your own worst enemy. You are literally your own worst enemy in this moment, my sweetheart. Okay? You say you don't have the brain information for you to go forward. You don't need it. Alright? You are an empath and you are sentient and you are powerful as shit as a sentient empath. You don't need brain power for anything. All you need is feeling. Right? All you need is feeling and awareness. So one, that's get that part out of your head. Your fear is not getting the crown. Well, again, because you are thinking that you need. If you think that you don't have the brain power in order to get your crown. By the way, if anybody's just like, what is she talking about? The crown? It's called the crown of glory. It is literally what you are. If you have achieved your crown of glory, it means that you have basically full manipulation over time and space within this level 1 matrix game of life. And you're just like, whoa, that sounds a little odd. Pop onto my YouTube channel and there's like literally a couple of videos on the Crown of Glory. So I recommend you go watch those ones. I'm up and down and constantly, it's really starting to pee me off. My developments are so slow. They are slow because you are continually looking in the wrong place. Harenali is literally right there. You've got your dad right there sending you constant feelings and just and you keep looking the other way and wondering why your development is slow. Put your focus back on to what it is that you're doing. So you know what, when it comes to Susan, you know when your body is having all of these feelings everywhere, right? All of these feelings. And you're just like, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is the message? I can't get it. Tell me what you're trying to tell me, right? What I want you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper, right? And a pen and piece of paper, and I want you to sit with yourself. And I want you to tell the people who are around you giving you this feeling, I want you to be like, because Harenali is there. Whatever you're picking up, whether it's coming from another individual or coming from just the energy that is around you, right? It doesn't matter. Harenali is there, she'll tell you. So I want you to write down, just be like, this feeling, how did I feel when I started feeling it? What was I thinking about when I felt it? And just try to trace back, like, okay, I was thinking about cooking dinner, I was thinking about Richard, I was thinking about Lorna, and I was thinking about the children and so forth. Okay, so you were thinking about family in your life, all right? So this feeling has a connection to family and life, all right? And then you can ask Harenali, you can just be like, can you give me, if I'm right, can you give me a tingle in my heart? Or can you give me some sort of sign, or give me a pop in the ear, whatever it is, right? Just be like, am I right? Yes. If you don't get any signal, it means like, okay, well, maybe no, I wasn't right on that one. Let me try again, right? I was in the living room. I was thinking of these things, but I was in the living room, right? So, do I feel this way when I go into the kitchen? Maybe go into the kitchen. Nope, I don't feel this way. Go back into the living room. Oh yeah, those heebie-jeebie tingles come back again. Okay, is it something about this room specifically? All right? Susan, I want you to look at this without frustration, but look at this as a puzzle. This is a puzzle that you need to work out, but it is a puzzle of pure feeling. You are not going to get any information coming through that is beyond your capabilities of understanding right now. Everybody has to understand that. You will not get any information through that you are unable to understand. Your guide will not send you information that you cannot understand, because that's just nonsensical. All right? And that's a waste of energy. So whatever you are being shown, it is within your understanding. So when you say like, oh, I don't have the brain power, well, or the brain information, well, you do. Your guide knows you more than anything and knows that you can figure this out. You just have to stop looking over there and look straight ahead with them. Okay? Do what you can to figure out this puzzle. And what you'll find is that when you start doing this, your developments won't be slow. They will be incredibly fast, especially come 2019, when everybody's energy is just like going straight up through the roof. You know, you take one step in the right direction on your path, and you'll find that that one step throws you into freaking hyperspeed or hyperspace or whatever, right? So do that now. Now, if you are still finding, Susan, you say, yes, someone is holding my hand at night in bed. Yes, ask who that is. Ask to be like, what is this sensation? Who's holding my hand, and why are they holding my hand? Right? Who, what, where, when, and why? Let's ask ourselves this. Because again, I know it's hard when you're an empath and you're sentient, because you don't get a lot of the knowledge fed through, but ask yourself this: who, what, where, when, and why, every time you have a feeling, right? And you'll find that answers will come to you much, much faster, sweetheart, much faster. Okay, so I hope that helps for you tonight, though, Susan, and thank you for staying up, because I know it's really late over there, too. Go get some sleep. Angie, I want my crown too, but my frequency has plummeted. Yeah, Angie. Sweetheart, you just got to start making decisions that are good for yourself. Like I said, this is your transitional period, and you're going to just have to make some decisions. Make decisions as to whatever is best for you. And don't make those decisions based on fear. Make them out of love for your heart, right? So, for example, a decision based on fear is, well, I'm going to continue being in this pattern because I'm scared of not being financially able to support myself. So I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. That's a decision based on fear. That is a decision that will keep you stagnant and in the pattern. But if you're making a decision where you're just like, no, you know, my body needs rest. I need to find a different job that offers me the same amount of pay, but in a different kind of way where my body has less stress on it. Okay? And then look at those options and see what you can do to get yourself out this pattern and stop making a decision based on fear, sweetie. Once you have your energy up, then you know what? You're going to be unlocked, and you can go and find your crown, right? Because your body will be well enough to feel or hear the messages that you require in order to get your crown in the first place. But you can't get your crown if you're just exhausted constantly. Can't do it. Michael, I was wondering why I'm an empath and clairvoyant, and I love it because I can just look at a situation of people and I can just tell him what's going on. It's a beautiful gift. Yes, Michael, all of these are very, 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 not only are they beautiful gifts, but they're very, very helpful in your way to navigate life, right? They're, like I say, so many people think that just like, oh, I'm a psychic. Oh, great, I have the ability to see into the past, to see into the present, to see into the future. I'm an empath, I can feel emotions, I can manipulate energy, like, you know, I'm Horiant, I can compact energy. That's wonderful. Now what are you going to do with it? How do you incorporate this into life? How do you better your life? How do you better the life of yourself and others with these miraculous gifts? Because they're not there to simply, they're not there for entertainment. How many people go to a psychic and they're just like, oh, this is for entertainment purposes only. And I'm like, no, it's not. When you come to me for a reading, when you come to me for advice, I'm using my cognizance. I'm a seer. I'm using my empathy. I'm using my sentience. If I'm healing, I'm using my Horiance. And none of this shit is for entertainment. This shit is for healing. This is for understanding. This is to literally use this to go towards my purpose of healing mankind in their minds and in their hearts, right? Actively using it. So now that you know that you are clairvoyant and an empath and sentient, how are you going to actively use this, Michael? Right? How are you going to actively use it? Anyway, sorry, that was my little rant there. Angie, I make them based on responsibility. I have looked for other jobs, but none of the pay even comes close. Well, perhaps then look at the life that is around you. You know, again, this is just a suggestion. This is, of course, anybody can do, literally, Angie, do whatever you feel is right for yourself. But I definitely know that when I was, you know, heavily in my business and earning a shitload of money all the time and everything, because I was in my business, but I was also in the same state where I was exhausted. I was tired. I made decisions based on fear as well. And it never got me anywhere but in the same position of exhaustion that I was in. And wanting to have my Rick moment and just kind of be like, burn it to the ground, I'm done, you know. But the thing is, I found that the lifestyle I had built was one that required a lot of money, right? And so when I woke up, and I went on a fast of electronics in the world and everything like that, and when I rediscovered nature and connected more so with my heart and with myself, I realized that I could live off of almost nothing and still be incredibly happy and be taken care of, you know. So again, that was me and that was my circumstance. But Angie, I would definitely have a look and just be like, you know what? Actually look at what you spend your money on, right? And whether it is it a need or is it a want? Is it useful or is it just decoration? You know, you gotta weigh up what it is that you actually need, because I tell you, how many individuals have so much stuff and they only use like 10 items on a regular basis. That's what I found. That's what I had a house full of lovely things, and I used my bed, I used my pillows, I even use only like one specific bowl, my favorite bowl and my favorite mug that I have for my tea and my coffee. Although I have a cupboard full of bowls and mugs, but I only ever wanted to really use these ones because they were my favorite. So why the shit do I have all the other ones when I don't even use it? Right? So anyway, but that is my suggestion, that can help you to start to just look and be aware and see what it is you need versus what it is you don't really need, right? And then how much money you need to support that. Okay, wonderful, Susan. Excellent. Susan, I'm sending healing out. Can you say for development purpose, is it get to them or do I need more practice? Susan, I want, before I answer that question, because to answer that question, I would literally need to connect to you and find the individuals and so forth. And I'm not doing a reading tonight or anything. But when you are doing a healing, I want you to focus on your solar plexus. Do you feel the energy churning? Okay? If you feel the energy churning as you are sending this out, then it's working. Right? However, if you're not really feeling too much of your energy in there, then I'm not saying it's not working, because again, you are still a very powerful empath. However, it may just not be as fast as you'd want it to be. Right? So whenever you are sending out healing, before you are doing anything, I want you to practice on activating your solar plexus, right? And your heart as well. You know, I want you to, you know, when I went through the empath training, where in that video I was telling you, okay, a yes, you know, find your yes, think of everything positive, to feel the tingle in your heart, that's your confirmation. And then I want you to kind of be like, okay, where's my positive? Feel my positive. Okay, my positive's here. Where is my negative? Okay, my negative. I'm feeling my negative. It's down here in my sacrum. You know, where is my energy? I want to feel my energy. And then you'll feel it in your solar plexus. When you have that feeling, that's when you could be like, okay, I know what's going on now. I want to send out healing. And when you are focusing your attention on that person that you're sending healing out to, you can start to feel it generate. And you could be like, I wish you to be healed. You are healed, you are well, you are loved, and so forth. And then I want you to feel for your yes, your positivity in your chest. So if you can combine this and this, then you'll know it's done. You'll know it's done, sweetheart. However, if you're sending it out, but all you're feeling is that negativity in your sacrum or wherever your negativity comes from, then you'll know that, shit, okay, gotta recalibrate. Stop everything. Let me readjust. Find where it is I need to be, and then go at it again. All right. So I hope that helps you, sweetie. Okay. So let's go on. We've got And I know oh, you guys have been with me for so long, so I hope you're still here. You know, I'm going to get through absolutely all of these, so I hope we get everybody as well. James, the next one is for James Wicker. I have a fear of being attacked emotionally. Ooh. A fear of being attacked emotionally. Now, how would I go about this fear? I would want to know what my emotions are, right? Sorry, Susan, I was tingling like mad, so that's good, but my hands didn't want to come back to me. Then you're fine. You are doing exactly what you needed to do then, Susan. All you got to do is keep practicing, right? And you'll be well. Don't worry, we're going to do some more healings. I should want to do some next week as well. So if you want to come back in on there and start feeling them, because Orke, again, one of our group members, requested healing without Horions. How we can heal without Horions. So I did want to do just a pure empathy and sentient healing session for those who need it as well. So we'll stay tuned for that one, sweetie. If you feel that you need it. Now, for James saying, I have a fear of being attacked emotionally. Okay. If you are being attacked emotionally, and you have a fear of that, then that means you are in fear of your own emotions, right? Because at the end of the day, if we can remember, your outside self your outside world is a reflection of your inside world, right? So if you have Michael, thank you so much for adding James there. Thank you, that's great. That's wonderful, because I don't tag people until afterwards because, oh shit, there's too many things to tag, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to do it. So anyway, so when you're attacked emotionally, again, your outside world is a reflection of your inside world, okay? If you are totally in tune with yourself on the inside, there would be no fear of anything that can come to you on the outside, right? So firstly, let's keep that in mind. Now, fear of being attacked emotionally. I want you to, in this moment, James, or not in this moment, or whenever you have time, right? I want you to list the emotions that you fear being attacked by. Because this was a broad question. I don't know if this is your fear of being attacked, emotionally in terms of love. Like you don't want to open your heart up to a lady or a gentleman or a partner in general because you are in fear of being hurt. If that is the kind of fear that you have at the moment, James, I would definitely want you to go back and discover what situation brought you to this emotion in the first place. If you are fearful of being attacked romantically or emotionally in terms of love, then what has developed that fear? What situation? Was it a past relationship, right, that you went through that this person just hurt you so much, right? And now that they've incited a fear in you that you can't take elsewhere, or that you can't give to another individual. If that's the case, you need to go back to that relationship, or you need to go back to the first time that you were hurt so badly, right? So that you can understand this emotion. So that when you understand it, then you'll know there's nothing to fear. Because at the end of the day, if another individual hurt you so badly, right, it is because, well, I don't know what the situation is, but many times, especially if it's in love, it's because you weren't resonating on the same frequency. There's disagreements. They have different perspectives. You have different perspectives, right? And it's coming into the understanding that their perspective just literally wasn't on, guys just weren't vibing together. So, of course, that just means that you find somebody who's vibing on the same frequency as you are. And there's no fear within that one. How do you find somebody who's vibrating on the same frequency? You make sure you're good and you're whole in your heart, right? You have to ensure that you are loving yourself and treating yourself the way you want this other individual to treat you. Because again, everything's a mirror, right? So if I'm scared of my husband cheating on me, right? Let's say I'm terrified of him cheating on me. Well, why? I've got to go and I've got to look and just be like, why are we not vibrating on the same frequency then? Why do I have this fear? Does he not Because at the end of the day, does he communicate with me? Do we have good conversations? Do we enjoy our time together? Does he appreciate me? Does he love me? Does he respect me? Right? If that's the case, then why is it that I would be ever fearful that he would cheat on me with anybody else? Because I am confident in our own relationship, so there's no fear there. Right? Now, that was just one in terms of love. Now, if you are fearful of being emotionally attacked in terms of anger, you know, maybe people say things and all of a sudden it just makes you, you know, like blow up. And you're just like, I can't control my anger, right? If that's the case, if that's the emotional fear that you are scared of, then I would definitely have a look into what has caused you to be so defensive, right? Again, it's all about inner work and going back to these emotions or these times in your life through your thoughts and through your memory as to what is triggering this in the first place. You know, often so many times if there is a man who has trouble, or I'm not going to say a man, I'm going to say a person, a man or woman, if you have trouble with James, hello, you're on here there. Wonderful. 8:40. I've been speaking on your issue for the past, like I'd say about 5 minutes or so. So if anything, clock, where are we in this? I have no clue where we are in this live, but just clock where it is so that you can rewind a little bit and come back here. But so, for example, if you are being attacked emotionally in terms of, thank you so much, Michael, for letting him know. And Susan, yes, that makes a big difference. I'm doing so much better on this self-love, and it will come right back to you, right? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, James, I just kind of went through, you know, what it's like if you are being attacked, if you're scared of being attacked through love. But again, if you're scared of being attacked through anger or frustration, you know, people pushing your buttons and you're not sure what you're going to do. Again, go back to the situations that happened or where this emotion, where you found that you were quick to react or respond to other people's emotions. Oh, Michael, I clocked it at 7 minutes ago. Wonderful. Okay, keep that in mind. So, again, we have to appreciate that so many people who are scared of their emotions, or especially if they are violent emotions or just not being able to stay within control, it's because of suppression. It is because of suppression, or it's because of trauma, or it's because of a fear of being either abandoned or being not respected or being blamed or being... there's so many different emotions that come along with this that cause you to build up this defense, to build up this fear, so that you don't have this emotion happening again, right? So again, go back to the situation at hand. That requires you to literally sit with yourself. Sitting with yourself. Nobody has to be around you to help you do this. And like I say, I did my video on the 13 steps for inner work to understand these emotions, because you have to clear them away, right? You have to clear that energy away. If you don't clear that energy away, it literally just sits there and festers, and the more situations that come up, the more it gets fed, and it just sits there, and again, it gets bigger and bigger and festers until we're just all in a state of lack of control, right? Lack of control, because we are living within our fears so heavily. So, James, if you have a specific emotion that you are fearful of, or just a general genre, then please put that down and I can come back to it, because I know I was broad there. I know I was just being broad, but it was, mind you, it was a bit of a broad one there. So I hope that kind of would have helped a little bit. If you don't want to go into a little bit more detail, but if you do, then please, by all means, post for me there. But in the meantime, I'm going to go on to Ruby, Onaloco Parsons. My fear is that everyone I care about is so deeply programmed that they won't wake up. Ah, yes. This one is a little bit hard. Because when you realize that it is all their decision, and the higher in frequency you go, the further away you guys go. Oh, you're very welcome, my sweetheart. I really do hope that helped. Like I say again, if you have anything more in detail that you want me to go through, then now's the time to pop it in there. But for Onaloko here, my fear is that everyone I care about is so deeply programmed that they won't wake up. How to deal with this fear? Well, for one, recognizing that everybody is on their own path and their own journey. Because you've woken up right now doesn't mean that they won't wake up a little bit later. So that's one thing we have to appreciate. That's like me going, well, you know what, I was really fearful a year and a half ago that Ruby wouldn't wake up. Like, oh, like bad things are going to happen. Well, I had nothing to fear because Ruby's woken up now, right? Onaloko, you are here and you are awake. It was just your time and your journey. So that is one thing to realize or to recognize, that everybody's on their own different journey. They will wake up in their own time if they do choose to do so. Okay, so that's one. Or we'll go for Susan. Susan was saying that, oh, Richard's finally coming around, like, you know, like things like that too. It happens. You got to give it a little bit of time. Next thing is the people who are literally so programmed that they are unable to wake up, right? Again, recognizing that that is their decision. With everything that is going on in the world today, the occult is no longer occult. You know, things that have been suppressed and hidden, they are there right in plain sight. If you know that whole saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink? That is exactly what it is. If you have individuals around you who are so programmed and deeply socially manipulated, or just totally just like, nope, it is because they are using their ignorance. Because how many times will you say to these individuals, or will the information come across which is the truth, like, hey, you know what? Oh, the weather's really terrible. It's going crazy, all this global warming. And you're just like, well, actually it's HARP. It's weather manipulation. They're doing this for people hurting. And you give them the information, then they're just like, no, it can't be that. Then what are you going to do? The information is there told. Like, you know, when they go on literally on sometimes they do tell the truth in the news, or they tell the truth in movies, or they tell the truth in politics. Like, you know, in politics, when you have a contract, right, or you have these agreements and so forth, it clearly states the slavery that they are trying to put people into. And if you have, but they say these things like, oh, you know what, but it's for your freedom. If you simply believe somebody going, oh, it's for your freedom because this individual was literally too distracted or could not be bothered to just look at what it is physically that's being, you know, look at the document, look at what you're signing up to. You know, if you've got an individual that can't be bothered to look at that, then that's not, oh, I didn't know. That is blind ignorance. So, Ruby, Onaloko, you have to come to the understanding, or just the acceptance, that some people will just simply ignore things because it's easier. All right? If you care about them, and you care about them very, very deeply, my suggestion to you, though, is to simply, if you can manage it, stay within their presence. Because the longer they are around you, the higher their frequency will raise in general, and the more of the patterns that they will take on and understand their meanings. However, for a high frequency individual, being around an individual that is heavily programmed, oh, it can be very, very difficult. So if you are taking that stance or that part, then I'm going to definitely suggest that you ensure that you are mentally strong and strong in the heart to be able to tackle this. Because I definitely know that I cannot stay around an individual for more than 48 hours. I literally cannot stay around. Kulipup is the same way. We cannot be in the presence of individuals for more than 48 hours without completely feeling the difference. Now, don't get me wrong, we have great temperance. We understand what the situation is, but that does not mean we enjoy it. So that we choose what it is we want to do at that point, right? But this is what we can do, right? So again, recognize that everybody's on their own path. If they're going to wake up, they're going to wake up. To recognize that everybody has their own decisions to make, right? If they want to use their blind ignorance, that is their decision. But if they want to try to accept new things, then they will, right? And 3, if you can manage it, and if you really, really want to raise their frequency, just keep them in your presence, and you don't even have to say a damn thing to them, because your energy will simply just start to trigger their own evolution as well. So, but that's whether you want to do it or not. So that's what I got for you on that one, sweetheart. I had a... I can't translate that. That's there. The next one we have is for Christine Tony. Okay, so Christine, I don't know if you're still here with us. I hope you are. If not, then that's okay too. You have fear of what's coming for the world, and will myself, family, and friends be safe? Okay, so what Christine is referring to is, of course, the harvest period. Now, for those of you who don't know what the harvest period is, again, I got another video on this if you want to pop over to my YouTube channel. But basically, if you want to say the harvest, the apocalypse, the end of the world, the change of mankind, all of that kind of stuff, the switch from 3D to 5D and beyond, that's basically what we were talking about. Now, if you want to think that, oh my gosh, she's off her rocker, she's talking about harvesting and the apocalypse and everything like that, yes, I am. If that scares you when I say this, or if it makes you look at me like, oh my gosh, she's crazy and or whatnot, then that's absolutely fine. It just means that you're not ready to hear this information right now. However, what cannot be denied is that there's so many people, and this is a commonality throughout the world, where people are coming into their abilities. Their pineal gland is being healed by the universal energy, and they are getting dreams. Very, very vivid dreams. People all over the world are being warned through their own heart, through their own abilities, through their own pineal gland, of earthquakes, of tsunamis, of tornadoes, of natural disasters, of wars, of famine, of so much death and destruction, of illness. You know, people are dreaming this. The messages are coming through to them because it is a preparation. It is a warning your heart and the universal energy is giving you to say, hey, make some changes because this shit's going to happen. You can't keep living like this because it's not going to bloody well work out. All right? But just for everybody to know, the harvest started in 2012. The Mayan calendar was absolutely correct. They said the end of the world was going to start at 2012, and it did. It just not in the whole, meteor's going to come in and crash in the world and blow everything up. Not in that way, but it is the end of the world as we know it in this consciousness, as the 3D, as the third and fourth dimensions are being removed from this game of life as we transfer into the fifth dimension. So, with that being said, Christine, you are in fear of what the world, with yourself and your family and your friends, will be safe. Well, for one, I'm going to refer back to, of course, Ruby's question in terms of people who are deeply programmed. If they can't wake up, you kind of just gotta follow those 3 steps. Will yourself, your family, and your friends be safe? Yes. Anybody who is following their heart will be absolutely fine. Because I want you to think about it this way. Your heart is your guide. Okay? Your heart is literally where your